Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm so excited because I am doing my January TBR. Over the past weekend I had filmed a kind of January reset video, and in that video I also redid part of my TBR cart. So I have some newer books on here, I have some older books that I really want to get to. I did a lot of book shopping in the past few months, so a lot of those books are on here now too. I feel like my taste changes a lot also in the winter. Like I just want to read dark academia, dark romance, fantasy, like all of that stuff. So I did end up putting more of that stuff on here as well. And I'm also super into my cowboy romance era, so we have some of those on here as well. I also just made a whole new TBR jar. My dad actually made me this box for my birthday. It's lovely and it's my favorite color, which is yellow. So love that. But I put all of my TBR prompts in here. I switched them up because last year when I picked from a TBR jar, I just did not like the prompts. So this year I really tried to just make prompts that I actually liked, so that I would pick books that I actually wanted to read and my TBR would actually succeed. I'm going to pick at least 6 prompts from my TBR cart. I generally read between 10 to 15 books a month. So 6 is a good number for me because it still allows me to like branch out and read other stuff that I want to read in the month. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, prompt number 1. A romance book. Okay, so I think I already know which one I want to pick, and it is Reckless by Elsie Silver. This is the next book in the Chestnut Spring series. So I have read Flawless, Heartless, and Powerless. Reckless is the next one and Hopeless is the final one. So I am hoping to finish this series potentially by the end of January. I love this series so much, and I have just been taking my sweet time reading it because it's one of those series that really got me into like binge reading. I read the first book in this series in under 24 hours, and that was the first time that I had ever read a book in under 24 hours. I was just so into it, and I was hooked. I was just absolutely hooked. And this was also one of the first books that I read that was like a cutesy little romance book that really dove into deeper topics but was also just super lighthearted, and I love that. I love that so much. I'm gonna pick Reckless as my book for a romance book. All right, second prompt. We have a book that fits the current season. So currently we are in the month of January. It is winter where I live. So I need something that's like winter coated. So let's see. So the first book I picked up was by Amy Doss, and that is The 9-Month Contract. But I don't think this one technically fits into like the winter theme. The one that just came out in this series, the 3rd book, I think it's called Honeymoon Phase. That one would fit the prompt of like a winter scene, but I've said this before, I do not like reading interconnected standalone books out of order. I just prefer to read them in order, so I don't think this one is going to work. I have been wanting to read Magnolia Parks, but I don't know if this one takes place, or I guess it doesn't have to take place in the season. It just said it fits the current season. I don't know about that one. I did just watch Lottie's January TBR video, and she picked Encyclopedia of Fairies for one of them, and she said that that's a perfect book to read in the wintertime. So this one is going to be a contender if I can get it out. I'm so good at overstuffing my TBR cart. There we go. So the Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, I've had this book for a while, but I've just never read it. I actually have all of the books in the series because I know I'm gonna like it. So basically this woman who is a scholar, she's writing the world's first encyclopedia of fairies, and she goes to this little village far in the north. And then a handsome academic rival confronts her and frustrates her. Okay, so this is definitely a contender. The other one that I have here is We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. And this one is more of a mystery, I believe, or like a thriller. Oh, yeah, it's a gothic book, but which for me, like gothic books are totally winter coated. I love gothic books in the winter. Okay, this one is also super winter coated. It says, just in like the first paragraph on the first page, it says, everything is covered in icy gray mist and the ground is hard and dead. So this is also a contender. We Who Will Die. This one just came out in December, and I actually have 2 copies of this. I got one from Book of the Month and one from my Allurial subscription box because I didn't realize it was the same book because the covers were different. So I actually ended up with 2 copies of these. But this is a fantasy book. I don't think I'm going to pick that one. What about Conform? Okay, I'm going to pick between Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies and We Live Here Now. I have not really been in the mood to read thrillers. I don't even remember the last time I read a thriller book, which is very unlike me because I read thriller books like all of the time. And I keep saying thriller, but I guess this one is kind of like a gothic mystery. But I don't know if I'm going to be in the mood to read this. But this is very winter coded. So I think I'm going to take a chance and put We Live Here Now on the TBR for this prompt. Third prompt. The last book added to your TBR. So for this one, I actually have quite a few options. I did just buy a whole bunch of books yesterday, so I think I could pick just between one of those. Funnily enough, a lot of the books that I bought yesterday are not on the TBR cart, mostly because they are like sequels, and if I didn't read the first book, I don't like to put the sequel on the TBR cart, obviously, because I'm not going to read that one next. But there are 2 that I did purchase yesterday and that did make it onto the TBR cart, and those are 9-Month Contract by Amy Doss and To Bleed a Crystal Bloom by Sarah A. Parker. This is a dark reimagining of Rapunzel. And then the 9-Month Contract is about... I was laughing so hard when I read the back of this book because it's just so funny. But it's basically a guy who's wanting to use a woman as an incubator so that they can carry a baby as like a surrogate for them. The plot of this book seems super funny. It seems really entertaining. But I also want to read this book. I have not read When the Moon Hatched yet, which is the same author as To Bleed a Crystal Bloom. So I don't know if I like jive with her writing style, but I had not heard anything about this book, so I decided to just pick it up because, well, first of all, the cover is beautiful. There's beautiful sprayed edges, and yeah, I just hadn't heard anybody talking about it, so I wanted to pick it up. Okay, I think I'm more in the mood for the 9-Month Contract, so I'm going to pick this one for our third prompt. Oh, I haven't even been putting them on the top of my cart. There. Okay, I definitely need to get a fantasy book on here because so far we just have a gothic, like, thriller and then 2 kind of fluffy romance books. So I need to get some fantasy on here because I have a lot of fantasy books that I want to get through and I just love reading fantasy. So we need to get some more fantasy books. Okay, number 4's prompt is a book by one of your favorite authors. Okay, this might be a little bit challenging because I don't think I've read any books by any of these authors that are on my TBR cart, which is a little crazy. Yeah, I have not, wow, that's kind of, I didn't realize that. I have not read a book by any of these authors. The only one that I've read is Reckless. Otherwise, all of these authors are new to me authors. So I'm actually going to put this one back and I'm going to pick a different one. An author you've never read. How crazy is that? Okay, so we got the complete opposite. So for me, this is sort of like a free pick because I haven't read a book from any of these authors. There's a lot of fantasy books that I'm really interested in reading. I really want to start the Powerless series because I have not read that yet. The Will of the Many is another book that I really want to read. However, I have been waiting for the second book to come out in paperback because I have the first book in paperback and I want them to match. So that's an option, although I don't think I'll pick The Will of the Many. Phantasma is another one. I have not read the Phantasma series or the duology, so I do want to read that one. I also really want to start Quicksilver. So that's another one. And The Raven Scholar, that was on my TBR for December and I just didn't get to it. That was one of 2 books that I didn't get to on my December TBR. So that's another one. But I'm also like, do I really want to start another series because I'm in the middle of so many series right now. So my goal is kind of to get caught up with the Book of Azrael or the Gods and Monsters series. I'm also in the middle of reading the Zodiac Academy series and the From Blood and Ash and Flesh and Fire series. So those are huge series that I'm in the middle of. So I think I at least want to finish the Gods and Monsters series before I start another one. So I have 2 books left to read in that series. So my point for telling you that was that I think I'm just going to pick a standalone fantasy book. I've really been wanting to read Rose in Chains and The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. So I'm going to pick one of those. I think I'm going to do Rose in Chains. Rose in Chains was written by Julie Soto, and it's a Hermione fanfiction book. So I know it's a love story between Hermione and Draco, and I believe it's after the events of Harry Potter took place, but I could be wrong on that. So I've been seeing this book everywhere. I've heard really good reviews about it, and I think there's a sequel that's coming out next year, I think, or at least another book that's coming out by Julie Soto. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that there is. So I'm going to pick this one for our 4th prompt. All right, 5th prompt it is. We have a book with a 5-word title. So we have For Whom the Bell Tolls. To Bleed a Crystal Bloom is another one with 5 words. The Will of the Many is also 5, but I don't think I'm going to pick that one. As Many Souls as Stars, that's another one. That one I got in my Allurial book subscription for, I believe it was December. Yeah, December. The Once and Future King. Or Queen, I'm sorry, The Once and Future Queen by Paula Laferdi. This one is a book that I got in my Allurial subscription box for December. Okay, I think that's it. So I already know To Bleed a Crystal Bloom is a Rapunzel retelling. For Whom the Bell Tolls, I don't remember what this one's about. It says they told her to go to hell, she went but on her own terms. Oh, so it's about her afterlife, and it wasn't what she imagined. The Once and Future Queen, I just love the cover of this book. It's so beautiful. So this one says, when Vera learns that she is meant for another time, she leaps at the chance to embrace a new life of valor, intrigue, and unexpected magic in this bold and romantic retelling of Arthurian legend. Interesting. Oh, so we have like Camelot. Oh, but we have a portal in Camelot. That's very interesting. Okay. Cool. Love that. And then As Many Souls as Stars. This one is by Natasha Siegel. It says, a witch makes a Faustian bargain with a beautiful demon, drawing her into a cat and mouse chase that spans lifetimes. Oh, and this one's set in 1592. I'm the most drawn to The Once and Future Queen, mostly because I'm trying to get better about reading newer books when they first come out, because I love the hype of a new book, and I love partaking in the like purchasing of a new book and just like the fun feels of what a new book can give you. So I haven't really been doing the best job about reading like newer books as they come out. I had meant to read We Who Will Die before Christmas. Like I wanted to read it before it even came out, and I just never even got to it. So I really want to get better about that, about like actually reading newer books, especially if I'm getting them ahead of time. I want to be able to read them ahead of time and just partake in that like fun kind of feels for it. So I'm going to pick The Once and Future Queen because this is one that just like recently came out. I'm really interested. It feels different from other books that I've read recently, and yeah, I just think I'll really enjoy it. So this is book 5, which means we only have one more. That's so sad. I feel like these videos go by so quickly, and they're genuinely some of my favorite to watch. I've only ever filmed 2 of them, and one of them was for December of last year, and I deleted the footage immediately after I filmed it on accident, so I didn't get to post that, and I wasn't gonna refilm it because I didn't have time. So, all right, for our 6th and final prompt, we have a book with a great first sentence. Ooh. Okay, which one have I been wanting to read? You know what, screw it. Screw the I want to finish a series. I think I'm just going to pick a book that I really want to read. I need more fantasy, I feel like, because I only have 2. What about The Wolf King? This one I also got in my Allurial subscription box for December. I've heard really good things about it. I feel like, I don't know if this book was just indie published before and then it recently got trad published. I'm not exactly sure, but I just feel like this book's been getting a lot of hype recently. So it says, the first sentence is, dogfights are barbaric. That's an interesting first sentence. Okay, so there's that one. What about We Who Will Die? Magnus brays like a donkey when he laughs. Okay, interesting. I still have not read Silver Elite. Maybe it's time. I've heard such mixed reviews about it, but I think a lot of it was because people thought this was like a fantasy book, but really it's more dystopian. At least that's what I've like heard people's commentary on. I grew up in pure, unceasing, suffocating darkness. I don't feel like any of these are really grabbing me. I want one that like speaks to me. You know, I want one like when I read it, I want to be like, yeah, that's it. A hologram filled the center of my office with a painting. Okay, actually that one is one of the best ones yet. What about The Wild Huntress? It was whispered that the other folks stole children, but one autumn evening they came for the midwife instead. I think I'm gonna have to go with Conform because this was the one out of all of them that like made me want to continue reading. So we're gonna go with Conform by Ariel Sullivan as our 6th and final book. Okay, we're gonna do a quick little recap of all of the books that I picked for my January TBR. So for the first prompt, I got a romance book, and for that one, I picked Reckless by Elsie Silver. For my second prompt, I picked a book that fits the current season, and for that one, I chose We Live Here Now by Sarah Pinborough. For the third prompt, I picked the last book added to your TBR, and for this one, I chose Amy Doss' 9-Month Contract. The fourth prompt I picked was an author that you've never read, and for this one I picked Rosa in Chains by Julie Soto. For my fifth prompt, I picked a book with a 5-word title, and for this one I chose The Once and Future Queen by Paula Laferty. And for my sixth and final prompt, I chose a book with a great first sentence, and for this one I picked Conform by Ariel Sullivan. This is a super exciting TBR for me because it has a mix of like the romance kind of fluffy stuff that I've been really enjoying reading recently, but then also has a book that I'm not super comfortable reading, like the gothic horror thriller version I'm not super into right now, so this will be a good challenge for me to kind of dip my toes back into thrillers and see how I feel about them. And then I ended with 3 fantasy books that I have been wanting to read and that have been on my TBR for a bit, so I am glad that I got to choose those, and we have 2 new ones as well. So this is a great TBR for me. I'm super excited. If you guys want to watch a reading vlog of this, just let me know because I can definitely do that. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!